Let me retape this before my mom is just like, excuse me. What is up, guys? I'm your least favorite ginger and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm gonna do what I do in all of my videos, which is do my makeup and talk way too much. Specifically, I'm gonna be trying a bridal inspired look by using the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded palette. Ooh. All right, so I'm gonna start by priming my eye with my Anastasia Beverly Hills Eye Primer. Now you might be asking why I'm doing a bridal inspired look. Well, two of my very good friends are getting married in March and I'm going to be doing the bride's makeup. I figured since I'm not in Florida to test it out on her, I'll do the eye looks on myself. I'm gonna do like a series, I've already decided. I'm gonna test the eye looks out on myself, and then if she likes a couple of the styles, we can try them out on her whenever I'm actually down there again. And I just thought that this would be a fun way to show anyone else who wants to do like a soft glam look how to do it. Now, Ariel is a very traditional bride. She doesn't want anything too sparkly, too shiny. She definitely wants the attention to be on her, not her makeup, which I completely understand and get. I was debating on using my Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette for this, but it's discontinued, and I don't want anyone to feel like they need those specific colors. But just in case they do, here's an Urban Decay palette. I typically don't really like Urban Decay eyeshadows. I got this palette for free whenever I worked at Ulta. And a really, really long time ago on an old makeup Instagram I compared the Naked Reloaded to the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry because they came out at about the same time. And it kind of looked like the Naked Reloaded stole the idea, the layout from Anastasia. But if you think about how long makeup is in production, it would have been far too quickly of a turnover for that to have happened. It's just a coincidence. All right, so I'm gonna start off by taking the shade Boundaries on my Morphe R35. I'm just gonna start packing that in the crease. I honestly don't prefer Urban Decay's eyeshadow formula. It just doesn't have the impact that I want, but not everyone wants or needs like bam color. They like to build it up. And that's one reason why I think for this bridal eye look, an Urban Decay palette would be the best, or would be a better option, just because it's really hard to take away, you know, eyeshadow, but it isn't hard to pack it on. So you can build up the color as much as you need, and take your time and blend it out. Now I'm starting to concentrate this on my outer corner as well as my crease, just kind of blending it out really soft. This looks like a little bit darker of a transition shade for me, but Ariel is a little bit darker than I am, so it'll be a great just lay down color to help everything blend out, transition shade on her, because it would be really close to her skin tone. It's a little bit warmer like she is. And I'm just doing the exact same thing to the other side, just slowly, slowly blending. I decided to try and do my eyebrows first. As you can see, they didn't end out too well. I'm gonna try and be redoing my eyebrow like ways, because I don't think this one seems to be working out for me anymore. It used to look really beautiful and blended, and now I just feel like I have block brows. That could just be because I haven't done makeup the way I used to. So the techniques just don't work for me anymore, which is fine. We build, we grow. Things don't work, so we figure out new ways to do things. Next up, I'm going to take the shade Endgame and just stamp that on my outer crease. My outer crease, my outer eyelid, my outer V. Now I'm going to blend that out with my R35 without picking up any additional product, just using the leftover of Boundaries. Now I put out a video, my peach glitter tutorial video last night. You might be wondering why it was so late and why I'm so late on filming this one. That is because Laura, the hurricane, not my aunt, really messed with my plans. I lost power for about 3 days. Where I am in Louisiana isn't on the coast. I'm actually about 30 minutes from the northwest corner going into Texas and Arkansas. So we did not get as much like destruction as Lake Charles did or anywhere like that. But it feels like the last 3 weeks since I put out that video has just been utter chaos. The Shreveport community lost the absolutely amazing Chit about a week after I put out that video. Her death was very sudden, very tragic, but she will be remembered as a light, definitely here and throughout the Drag Race community. I actually did have the pleasure of going to see one of her shows. I say one of her shows. It was a show that she happened to be in, but her leg was hurt or something. She was wearing a cast and she had crutches, but she was still standing there in full drag and cheering on for everyone else who was dancing, lip syncing, and having a good time with her fellow sisters. And I just think that that's very professional and just very sweet. I also had a rather unfortunate run-in with her at Ulta. She came in out of drag and I didn't really recognize her. I just thought she looked familiar because I hadn't watched season 8 at the time. I just kind of had seen highlights of like Bob the Drag Queen being sassy to Derek Barry and a couple of her confessionals. But a coworker noticed her instantly and was like, oh my goodness, and was like talking to her. And I was like, I have to ask who she is because I haven't lived here this long. I shouldn't really recognize anyone. Like, who is that? And so after she checked out, I didn't realize that she stopped and talked to another person that recognized her, and Lorraine said, that's Chi-Chi, the crawfish queen. I thought she said garbage queen. And I said, Chi-Chi, the garbage queen? And Chi-Chi looked back at me, we made eye contact, and then left the store. And I was like, no, that's always gonna be unfortunate in my books. I am still blending this out because there is a little bit of patchiness. I went in with In-Game again just to deepen it, and it just decided to cling to the spot on my outer eyelid, and I can't have that. There's a little odd spot like right here, but I'm gonna go over that with concealer in just a bit, so I'm not too worried. All right, next I'm gonna cut my crease with my Kylie flathead brush. Well, with my Anastasia primer that's on my Kylie flathead brush. If Ariel decides that this is the eye look that she wants, I probably won't cut her crease. And I always cut my crease with my eye open. That way you can see where it's gonna land whenever I open my eye. 2 days ago, the makeup community lost Ethanissupreme. And like, scandals aside, he was only 17, and I just think that that is tragic. He apparently overdosed, which I think is something that we need to address, is drug education. We, as like Americans, are just taught not to do it, but that doesn't stop people. So I feel like there should be drug education on like how much would lead to an overdose. It's kind of like how even though teenagers are taught not to have sex, 9 times out of 10 they still do, and we still give out condoms anyway and let them know the dangers of it. Tell people the dangers of doing drugs and educate if you want to keep that mindset. I believe that we should be like Portugal. They decriminalized every drug. If you're caught with more than a 10-day supply, then you're taken to counseling, but prison isn't the way to go if you have a disease like that. And I truly believe that addiction is a disease. I don't know, I guess I just feel like if we treat addiction and addicts like people that need to be helped as opposed to criminals. There would be so few deaths, so few overdoses, because it's not gonna stop. Just because it's illegal doesn't mean it's gonna stop. Now, I personally have never done anything like that. I'm just too scared. I'm too scared of dying. I'm too scared of being arrested. I'm too scared of all that. I was offered weed once in high school, and I said, maybe in college. I was like, maybe in college I'll try it, because Florida, where I went to high school, it's treated as like a federal offense. And I didn't go anywhere after class. I just went home. So if I were to have accepted it when it was offered, it would have been on school grounds. And if I were to have been caught with it, it would have been a federal offense. And I just was scared. I just was scared. So I always thought maybe in college, maybe in college. Well, in college, I got a federal scholarship for singing and performance. And I was like, oh, if I'm caught, I'm gonna lose my scholarship. And then I went to Seattle and performed on cruise ships. I don't think those are even, but it'll be fine. And it was like, okay, it's legal here. But with my federal scholarship, since it wasn't decriminalized for the whole US, I could have lost my scholarship if people decided to test us whenever we got back. And I was like, no. All right, okay, so I'm just gonna stamp blur onto where I cut my crease. Never mind, I'm gonna stamp bribe onto where I cut my crease. I was actually inspired to do a much more cool makeup look because of the new Natasha Denona Glam palette. And in my Natasha Denona bronze video, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna get any more Natasha Denona palettes. They're too expensive. And I have just about every color story in the world. And I bought it anyway. Sorry, Mom. It was just too pretty. But I will say I don't like how the colors are named in there. Which is a pretty like little thing to be worried over or to have like a complaint about, I know. But they're labeled like transition, outer crease, inner corner, and every, you know, there's like 4 inner corner shades that are named inner corner. It just feels like it's more of a product to be sold rather than like, if you put your heart and soul into this and you love, you know, if you really were thinking of all like the brides and fall glam. And I know makeup is a business. I know that she doesn't have to have this innate like motherly, I created this feeling for every single one of her products, but it's like, wow. It just made me feel like it was a little bit of a cash cow. She's like, I don't really have a fall palette. Here you go, you'll buy it. And I did. Ariel and Holden's wedding is in spring. So I don't want this to be completely cool toned without any like warmth at all. So I'm taking a little bit of Reputation. I'm gonna use that as the shimmer that marries the 2 matte shades. And who knows, if she says, hey, I like the look, but it still is a little too cool for me, I'll add a little bit of warmer outer V's or add a little bit of the pink that's in this shade as a transition color, just to help everything like marry and have more of a warm feeling. That is something that I do like about this palette, is that it has that pink that you can combine with like any of the cooler tone transition shades to give it an all-around like warmer feel. So I'll take the brush that has my transition shade on it and I'll pat it over the outer portion of the shimmer shade and kind of marry it into the outer V, all while simultaneously helping to blend the outer V into the crease a little bit more. I'm gonna bring the shimmer in just a little bit more without picking up any additional product. And what I'm doing is I'm pulling from out and swiping in. That way it deposits a little bit of shimmer, but also helps blend it with the white. That's right there. I don't know why, but with everything, I guess I'm just in a mood to talk about drugs. Like, because going back to what I was saying about how drug culture is so frowned upon, it's also so deeply integrated into society. You know, Hollywood is full of it, and there are so many people that it's like gone too soon, but when addicts are reaching out for help, like in life, a lot of times it's just like, well, stop doing drugs. It's like, that's not how addiction works. I also have some issues with addiction within my family, which kind of turns me off to the idea, just because I know that I do have like an addictive personality, and I do feel like if I were to get into those substances, it wouldn't be good for me. But that doesn't mean that I shouldn't learn how to spot the symptoms of addiction, because going back to Ethanissupreme, I said I wouldn't talk about his scandals, but he did have some scandals, especially in the last year. And one of his good friends, Ava Louise, said this was a result of the scandals, and what he was saying was a result of mania fueled by his addiction. And that is a very real occurrence from people that I've seen and met, and people that I'm just the outside looking in, like with this. And then there are people that are just like, well, you shouldn't have done it to begin with. It's your own fault. And it's like, well, they know that. Well, duh. But you also have to look at the culture that we're in. He was trying to make it big with, you know, in this beauty scene, people do drugs, you know, famous people do drugs. You see it all throughout Hollywood. Like, it's very hard if there's someone that you know and someone that you admire that offers you one of those substances and you want to seem cool to them, you're gonna say yes. Peer pressure is a thing, yeah. And then it can turn into, well, while I was taken advantage of, or while I was under those substances, maybe they're taken advantage of. And maybe substances then become a way to cope, to mask the feelings. I just look at those situations with a lot of pity. Because again, he was 17. He was a child. He was very easily influenced. I also feel bad for like 40-year-olds that overdose. It's an issue for everyone, no matter what demographic, no matter what age bracket, just about. It is such a staple in our society that, like, oh yeah, you know, in my hometown, so-and-so's uncle overdosed, so-and-so's brother, so-and-so's sister, so-and-so's mom. It's devastating. And people say, oh, if only they had reached out for help. Well, during times of mania, maybe they are. Hurt people hurt people. And I think that people that just say, well, don't, or well, just stop, as if it's that easy, aren't taking the human element into consideration and the fact that it's an addiction. Everyone has a vice, you know? Well, you just stop smoking cigarettes. Well, you just stop whatever your vice is. It's hard. It's addiction. And they say, well, I have the moral high ground because smoking cigarettes or drinking is legal. Okay. You're still putting yourself at more of a risk for killing yourself or killing others. You know, definitely with smoking. Putting yourself more at risk for killing yourself. Oh, well, that's my problem. Oh, well, don't expect me to cry, like how you didn't cry over the 17-year-old's death when you get lung cancer. And drinking, I've sworn off drinking. I drank in college. I definitely did drink underage. I asked my mom. But I did drink underage. I lost an uncle to drunk driving. A couple of really good people in my life have gotten DUIs, and I just feel like it's not worth it. But that's my decision, you know? I don't feel like I have the moral high ground over someone that has a drinking issue. Like, well, I just stopped. Well, I never had a problem. Something that I have noticed about this Urban Decay palette is I've used it a couple of times and it gets very dusty. Like, I could go through this palette really, really quickly. I might do like a Pan That Palette 2021 and it be this, just because I really don't use it. Should probably get it out of my collection. All right, so I'm gonna take a little bit of Angel Fire. I'm just gonna put that on my outer corner. And I'm just putting this really, really just centered on that inner corner. Normally I'll blend it out a little bit, but I don't want to do that because I want to definitely just keep the matte look as opposed to like a satin look on the eyes. Just really focusing that in right there. And yeah, I really, really like that eyeshadow. I'm not quite done with the eyeshadow because I am going to use it as a liner. I just feel like a liquid liner might be a little too harsh. I'm going to take Distilled just to see what it looks like. And swipe it along my lash line. You don't really see it, and I don't really like that. Now, I know I did say that I liked the slow building for soft looks, but for liner, I would rather just have it, bam, that's the liner, especially with eyeshadows, because I don't want to have to keep going over. This is a very big like area where I can easily mess everything up. And the less I have to go back over everything, the less of a chance that I can mess it all up. I do have the Benefit Cosmetics roller liner in brown that I could easily pull out just in case this doesn't work. But I really like the look of like the outer V color being the liner. Although who knows, maybe I'll cheat and just throw it on the areas where it's more difficult. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, so I cheated, and since the Benefit liner was basically the same color as the Urban Decay eyeshadow, I just went ahead and did it. I really like it. I love the Benefit roller liner, black and brown. They're both very pigmented. They're both very they're just good liners. Also, going back to what Ethanissupreme did, and then I swear I'll shut up about it. I'm not saying that we should condone or excuse any of the things that he did and said because he is now passed. He was racist. You know, he made fun of a mom for having 2 disabled kids. I mean, but I do think that it's important to look at what the side effects of a drug issue do to people. You know, being able to see what is mania and when people need help versus I can't really think of a way to phrase this. It doesn't make it sound like I'm excusing his racism, transphobia. I'm not. I am not. I'm just saying that we really need to learn how to recognize symptoms of a drug issue, a drug problem, a drug addiction, and help those people get help. That way they stop making those mistakes. For the bottom lash line, I had taken a little bit of Boundaries and just swiped it underneath, and now I'm going to take a little bit more of Endgame. But that just... there, oh no. There is something in this eye, and it is not happy. All right, so I'm gonna go off camera and I'm gonna put on some eyeliner, mascara, and lashes. I don't know if I'm gonna do brown or nude eyeliner, so we'll see when I get back. So I did one eye with nude liner and one eye with brown liner, and I think I like the brown liner more. I just feel like it ties everything together, but this does make the eyes look more open, so I think I'm just gonna go over it with the brown. This eye hates me, but I've come too far, and this looks pretty okay. Can't turn back now. Okay, so I'm back with mascara, eyeliner, lashes. I probably will use a much more natural lash on Ariel, but for right now I really like these. For my eyeliner, I use Sunnyvale by ColourPop. For my mascara, I used the Lash Blowout. That was a collaboration between IT Cosmetics and Dry Bar. And this eye still hates me, but for lashes I use Definition 310 by Eyelure. I'll put it up on the screen. And yeah, all I really have to do is cheeks and lips. Yay! All right, for contour, I'm gonna go in with my ColourPop contour palette. I'm almost done with it, as you can see. I'm really excited about it. I might need to repress this just because the pan is so large, it makes it kind of hard to grab anything. So I dig in and then I grab way too much. Way too much, okay. Nothing little bronzer won't fix, right? Okay. It's fine. This is what happens when you continue your makeup whenever you have bad eyes. I'll fix it in post. I just fixed my eye. Luckily, I waited for it to dry so I could just kind of scrape off the mascara as opposed to like smudging it into my foundation and all that fun stuff. Now I'm just working on bronzing and contouring up my face. Next, I'm taking Baddie on the Block Blush by Kylie Cosmetics. This is in her Holiday Face palette as well as a single. I'm just putting that right there. I feel like this is a perfect mid-tone pink blush. I think it'll be really good for the spring wedding. But if she doesn't like it, I have a variety of other blushes. Especially because with complexion products, since we have two different complexions, they might not work. What works on me might not work on her. So she sees this and is like, hey, I don't really want a pink blush, I want a peach blush, or I want whatever blush. I can make it work. For highlight, I'm gonna take Cheers Darling. That's also a single, but is in this Kylie Face palette. It's a very nice champagne shade, which I think will help tie the warm tones with the cool tones of the eye look, or the warmer tones of the face with the cooler tones of the eye look all together. I probably want to apply it like I do to myself on her, just because again, she's a much more natural person. I do kind of like to pat everything down with the Beauty Blender. To me, it helps it melt into the skin. It helps it melt into each other. I think I would do a soft pink, but with like a brown lip liner into a soft pink. We'll see, give me a minute. So I'm gonna go in with Minuteman Lippy Pencil by ColourPop. Going in with Nyx Lip Lingerie in a ruffle trim. Nyx Lip Lingerie, this is my first time putting it on my lips. I heard that they were like super drying, which is why I stayed away, but this doesn't feel bad thus far. Maybe they reformulated. Maybe I'm just not giving it enough time. Who knows? Time will only tell. But yeah, I do look how this look turned out. Other than my eyebrows, the wonky eye, and my contour, so you know, a good third of it, I think it's really good. I do like this eye look for a soft, you know, just bridal soft glam moment. I do like this lip. It is very neutral, but still you can tell that I have something on. But yeah, let me know what you think down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And let me know if you'd like to see any other looks in my comments. Bye!